Hi, everybody. I just wanted to share some of the tips that I've learned about sending out a manuscript to beta readers, especially if you're doing longer format work. It's been really interesting because now at this point, I'm getting feedback from, when I say beta readers, somebody who is reading it and giving you feedback. This is like your first wave of people. And so these were some things that I picked up on, and it may or may not be helpful to you. This is predicated on just how your thinking process is. Like, I think a certain way, but you may not think that way. And so take from it what you will. And so I've got 4 tips for you, and I'm going to go through them quickly. So, tip number 1, I have a middle grade novel. Middle grade novels usually hover from 30 to 50,000 words. This age range is intended from, my group is 10 to 12. Some people 8 to 12 have a wider range. So, tip number 1, longer work. I found a stronger beta reader, which was kind of serendipity because I sent this out to like 18 readers. I know that's kind of high. A lot of people be like, whoa, that's a lot. Luck would have it, the first reader I sent it to was very fast. So this person read across genres. We're talking about they read picture book, middle grade, YA, especially YA, and they also read adult novels. They themselves are a hobbyist writer. So they are stronger than I am at spelling, grammar, and also continuity errors. So that first person got it back to me in 3 days. Man, that was awesome. That was like gold. So they went ahead, I did all their changes because they more leaned heavily on spelling, grammar, and continuity. I kind of wish, looking back on it, I'd waited before because like I had a first wave. The rest of that first wave could have had a much cleaner copy of the manuscript if I'd waited for that first person. Because those of you who are listening, if you were writers, you might find it very distracting to have a lot of grammar and spelling errors and continuity issues, and it'll really pull you out of the story. So just be aware of that. Tip number 1, have a strong, quick beta reader. Tip number 2, patience. I know, patience is a virtue. This is like one of those things, as I was getting feedback in, it comes in like trickles of water from readers. The thing is, I realized I should have waited because as I was like doing these feedback changes, they were great. All feedback is wonderful. But like I would do it and then I'm like, my story like structure started going off the rails. And so I kind of followed like Freytag's pyramid of, we got the hill going up and down. And then towards the end, it was just like, ugh. It's like, because I was doing these changes and things were like moving around. It was kind of like not working so well. And then the future wave, like wave 2, they're like, what happened at the end? So really, like, just be patient. Get as many of your readers and understand that not everybody can get back to you. I kind of realized, that's why I kind of did 18 because I was like, man, people are busy. They have families, they have jobs, they have commitments. I take nothing personal if they couldn't get back to me. They'd just be like, oh, I'm too busy. I don't have the time for this. I had good intentions to read it, and that's perfectly fine. So tip number 2, have patience. Try to wait for a chunk of your readers to get back to you. Tip number 3, see, it looks like a W. So here's my little analogy with that. The W for why. Why did you write this story? Like, for me, it was like this driving force. Like, I was a very personal story, and I just said, I have to get it out there. I really want to write about this. That why pushes you through to be able to handle and understand the feedback that you're getting. Like, I was very intentional. I had one grouping that were not really writers, but they came from the market that would buy my book if it actually got published. So we're talking about teachers, librarians, and parents, because middle grade readers are less likely to be able to make their own purchases. So I really wanted to make sure that when I got feedback, and then the other group was writers. So yeah, like kind of 2 groups. So understanding their feedback, but also understanding my W, my Y, was my guidepost, because you have to get through this, for me, it's really hard doing this revision part. And so you're taking all this feedback in, and you don't want to take it personal. So that why, when I looked at the why objectively, I could say, like, this feedback fits with my story to a T. Like, shockingly, like especially like my one librarian friend who gave me feedback, and then another friend who is of a similar ethnicity than I am, they really helped me, and it fit with my W, my 3, my Y. And so that guidepost is, to me, is so important to understand, why am I asking somebody to spend hours to read a story that I wrote? So yeah, and it really is a guidepost, and it keeps you going, keeps you motivated to keep doing those revisions. Tip number 4. So maybe I should have said this earlier. So before you even send out, think about a list of questions you have for your reader. I knew specifically that I had one grouping of people who were not writers. Writers will probably pick up intuitively because they've done a lot of writing, done a lot of reading, and so that they kind of like, oh, these things will help your story move along and maybe not need as many questions. But if you're sending out to people who have never beta read a manuscript like this, longer format work, having specific questions, and those questions I started ratcheting them down as I got from the first, second, and then to my third wave of readers. And so I was very like more intentional about, what do I need to hear back from them? And it's just, for me, I got to the point where I need to be direct because, you know, I just have certain things that I want to hit on. So yeah, so those questions, I guess I should make a PDF and then you can look at it. I actually got this from a YouTube writer who writes fantasy, and he had some basic things that you can consider when you send out to beta readers. Yeah, I'll put them in the actual description, and then you could choose to change or alter them. But yeah, just something to think about. And like I said, really, number 3, the why, is going to help you out with picking through those questions and looking for that common thread. But anyways, keep going, keep writing. I know it's like, it can be at times a slog. Like I go like, there were like highs and lows writing this. It was like that first, like writing it was just so much fun. It was like really like just came out of me. And then like this part of it, I was shockingly surprised, like, whew, this is like going up Mount Everest. You're just like plodding along, going one little step at a time. So if you find this step difficult for you, I hope these tips will somehow help you and guide you in your writing. But anyways, happy writing and good luck. Bye.